Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. To all my students from Diploma in Halal Management Part 3, I'm Dr. Rafidah binti Muhammad Azli, preparing for you these slides entitled as Types of Khiyar. These slides has been prepared by me to fulfill the Week Without Walls program organized by UiTM Negeri Sembilan. Therefore, I would like you to view this video and understand the content very well, and please answer the quiz through the Kahoot. What is the definition of khiyar? It is an option or the right of choice which is given to either party or both parties to a commutative contract to rescind or cancel the contract in certain conditions or circumstances. For example, the buyer can return the object of sale and recover the price if the object is found to be defective or incomplete. What are the benefits of al-khiyarat? First, khiyar can decrease the ignorance about trading and its subject matter. Second, khiyar can develop the capital market usage and its monetary instruments. And third, khiyar can help the customers to create an opportunity to get a beneficial and Sharia compliance activity. I bring to you types of option or al-khiyarat. The first is khiyar ashart or option as a condition. Second, khiyar al-aib or option from defect. Third, khiyar al-ta'yin or option of determination. Fourth, khiyar al-ru'ya or option of inspection. Fifth, khiyar al-majlis or option of meeting. Sixth, khiyar al-ghubun or option of deception. 7. Khiyar al-kimmiyah or option of quantity. 8. Khiyar kashful hal or option of status. 9. Khiyar al-naqdu or option of payment. 10. Khiyar al-qabul or option of accept. 11. Khiyar al-taghrir or option of fraud. And lastly, khiyar al-wasfu or option of characteristic. Is khiyar ashart. It is the khiyar or option that constitutes a condition stipulated in the contract. This option confers on the parties to the contract the right to proceed with contract by confirming it or to cancel it, all within a pre-agreed period of time. In other words, the parties have the option of studying their respective positions in the contract in order to come out with a final decision of either confirming or rejecting it. This option can be attached to any commutative contract. In example, a contract that involves the exchange of counter values and which is cancelable at any later date. In general, the option duration can vary in length according to the agreement and designation of the two contracting parties at the contract date. During the option duration, the buyer has the right to effectuate the deal by paying the price and taking delivery of the underlying object of sale. Okay, to all my students, now we turn to Khiyar al-Aib or option from defect. It is an option or khiyar that is conferred on the buyer such that in case the object of sale is found to be defective, he will be entitled either to hand it back to the seller for its full price or receive a price reduction corresponding to the defect while retaining the object. The definition of a defect, however, varies from one school of thought to another. Hanafis put it as any specification or attribute that is not customarily part of the object of sale and which would negatively impact its price to an extent or another. An example of khiyar aib is an animal with partial or complete blindness, or an electronic device that is malfunctioning. Shafi'i scholars in their turn define a defect as any uncommon attribute that brings about a diminution in the object of sale or its value or impedes a proper or ordinary use of the object. In order to exercise this kind of option, the buyer should not be aware of the defect either at the contract assembly or after receiving the object. Otherwise, that would be seen as an implicit acceptance by the buyer. Okay everybody, now we go to khiyar at-ta'yin or option of determination. It is a type of khiyar which comes into effect if the parties to the contract of sale mutually the specification of the object of sale agree to postpone or a designated period, conferring on either party the option of specifying the underlying object. For example, a person may purchase one out of 3 vehicles owned by the same seller, with the option to specify which one within a period of 3 days. According to Hanafis, this option is valid based on istihsan, as it meets a legitimate need of contracting parties. Other schools of thought, namely Shafi'i and Hanbali, considered this option invalid in view of the state of ignorance or jahala it gives rise to. Khiyar at-ta'yin is an Arabic term that translated into option to specify or option of specification. Okay, all my students, now we turn to khiyar ar-ru'yah or option of inspection. It is an option whereby it is the right of a buyer to make an akad binding or nullify the akad upon seeing the object of sale which has not seen before or during the akad. As Rasulullah SAW said, whoever buys something he has never seen, then it is the right of khiyar or choose when he sees it. Okay students, now we go to khiyar al-majlis, which is option of meeting. This is a khiyar which is discussed on each of the parties to a contract, allowing them to withdraw it or not to proceed with concluding the contract, and it is happen usually in the contract of sale before they leave the contract assembly or session, and for example, before they physically or constructively part or separate. This type of khiyar derives actually from Sharia basis, from an authentic prophetic hadith or maxim. The two parties to a sale have the option to rescind it as long as they have not parted, and one of them may give the other the option for a longer period. In Khiyar Majlis, a contract of sale cannot come into effect without offer and acceptance. For Hanafi and Maliki, a sale is concluded and binding on both parties on the expression of offer and acceptance. However, Shafi'is and Hanbalis opine that buyer and seller retain the option to rescind the contract as long as they have not left the contract session. Okay everybody, now we go to Khiyar al-Ghubun, or option of dishonesty. It is an option that confers on either party to a commutative contract, for example, contract of sale, ijara, and etc., the right to remove the injustice arising from fraudulent deception or ghubun by voiding the contract. Hanafis consider this option legally permissible if the fraud is based on deception. The source of deception could be from the seller, whether in verbal form as when communicating he gives the unjust prices, or by action when conveying untrue or misleading description of the object of sale. The degree of ghubun could be small, and hence it is called minor fraud or ghubun yasir, or significant. So it is known as major fraud or ghubun fahish, depending on the extent of unjust increase in the price or difference in quality or any other feature. Verbal deception in price may result if the seller claims that the object of sale is that expensive because there are no alternatives in the market, which is not the case actually. Actual deception in description may occur if the seller states that the object of sale has a specific feature while it does not effectively. Okay students, now we go to Khiyar al-Kimmiyah, or option of quantity. The name of Khiyar al-Kimmiyah was given by the Hanafis. It differs from Khiyar al-Ru'yah in that the latter does not apply when the unseen item is money. Khiyar al-Kimmiyah is an Arabic term that denotes quantity option. Khiyar al-Kimmiyah. It is a khiyar that comes into effect if a person buys an item in barter for unseen items in a container. The seller of that object does not know the quantity or type of the objects placed in the container. In this case, the seller has the option, after opening the container or box and checking its contents, to choose between concluding and cancelling the sale. Okay, now my students, now we go to khiyar kashful hal, or option of status. It is a khiyar or option that is given to the buyer upon knowing the specifications of the object of sale after he purchased it without knowing its specifications. In other words, this option comes into effect in cases that involve purchasing an item whose weight, volume, or measurement is unknown. In example, if a person buys a chunk of dates whose weight is equal to that of an unknown measure, or an amount of food oil for a specific price per measure of volume. In any case, the sale is considered valid, with the buyer having the option to consume it or terminate it. Khiyar Kashful Hal is an Arabic term that translates into revelation option. An-naqdu, or option of payment. It is a special case of khiyar al-sharat, which comes into effect if the parties to the contract of sale with deferred payment agree that the contract shall be void unless the price is paid within a period of 3 days at the longest. Hence, the option is of an-naqdu, where an-naqdu translates into cash or cash payment. The period of 3 days is typically stipulated in Khiyar al-Shart, and the stipulation of any longer period, such as 4 days or more, will render the contract invalid, as such stipulation contradicts the very nature of the concept of cash payment. However, some fuqaha didn't stick to the 3 days period and deem any longer interval as valid, provided that the contracting parties mutually agree its length, taking into account their best interests. Okay, student, now we go to khiyar al-qabul, or option of acceptance. It is an option that both parties to a contract have or prior to the expression and communication of qabul or acceptance, and whereby they may or may not proceed to conclude the contract. This option can be exercised by the parties before the contract is concluded. Okay, students, what about khiyar at-taghrir? Khiyar at-taghrir, it is an option to revoke a contract on grounds of deception. It is the right of a buyer to revoke a contract due to a deliberate act of deception by the seller or a party plotting with the seller. This involves giving inaccurate description of the object of sale in order to convince the buyer to pay a higher price. For examples, verbal deception and deception as to the actual cost price in amana sales. Okay, student. Now we go to the last type of khiyar, which is khiyar al-wasfu, or option of characteristic. It is an option that comes into effect if the buyer finds out that a desired feature or specification of the object of sale is actually missing or non-existing. The buyer has the option either to accept the sale as it without any partial refund of the price, or to reject it if the missing feature is one of the particular importance to him. This option is usually used in cases where the object of sale is not available at the time of contract. For example, a person may buy a vehicle based on the description that it has traveled a specific mileage or is the model of a given year, just to discover later that this is not true. As such, the buyer has the option to retain the object without any refund or to call off the sale altogether. Conventionally, since the buyer would not have accepted the underlying object without a specific feature, then its absence is tantamount to a defect in the object. Khiyar al-wasf is an Arabic term that translates into characteristic option or feature-related option. Okay, students, now we come to the end of this presentation. From the discussion, it can be concluded that Islam provides the rulings on Khiyar to preserve the right of ownership which belongs to both contracting parties. Khiyar give the benefits to both of contracting parties in terms of integrity and transparency. Islam teach the Muslim to practice the concept of fair, justice, and transparent when dealing with customers through various of contracts. Islam do support the profit maximization, but it must be combined together with kinds of options which practicing the values and integrity. The more transparent the sellers, inshallah, there will be the higher demand of customers towards Muslims' business and transaction across the cultures and worldwide. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.